Welcome to Space Time with Dave. I'm Dave. This is a tutorial on stacking planetary images in AutoStakkert. So this is free software for stacking planetary images usually from a video file. You'll shoot with a camera. You'll record an uncompressed video file and hopefully end up with something cool like this. So let's get to it. So this is kind of a weird program. You've got your main program window here, and you've got your frame viewer here. And so you kind of work left column and then right column. It's kind of weird. Just hang in there, and I think you'll figure it out. So I'm just going to drag and drop my video file. I did that off screen. That might not be very helpful. So just drag and drop my video file to load it up like that. And so here is, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So here's a shot of Jupiter, and the 4 Galilean moons are visible. And one of them is hiding behind this text here. So I'll just, if I could just expand the width of my frame, I can see them. And I can scroll through and see. So I have a little over 3,500 frames in this shot of Jupiter. I shot this with my ZWO ASI 120 planetary camera. Pretty nice camera. Okay, so first thing we need to do is analyze the frames. So I've already opened. Image stabilization, you're going to set that to planet, since I'm doing a planet. I'll leave dynamic background checked. Quality estimator, you're going to want this on edge for planets, so it's going to look at the edge of this object. Now, if you were shooting something that was showing us phases like Venus, then you would uncheck the edges that are not a solid edge, that are the dark edge rather. So, but because this is Jupiter, the whole thing has a nice edge, so we'll leave that checked. And then just hit analyze. So what this is doing is it's going to look through all of my 3,500 frames, and it's going to reorder them. And the order will be from best to worst instead of first frame to last frame. So now they're ordered. So now frame number 1 is my best frame. And if I scroll through, they go from best to shittiest. So that's kind of ugly. Okay. So if you look at the quality graph here, this will be important. It's showing us two things at the same time. The gray spikes are the individual frames, and the green line, if I hover the mouse over there, it shows you the green green line is ordered. So the green line is order from best to worst, and you can't really see the 50% line because it's hiding. I have so many frames in there. So what this shows you is you can look at this green line and go, well, it looks like about 50% of my frames are 50% quality or better. Okay, so we'll get back to that. So what we need to do to stack is we need to add alignment points. And you can manually draw them like that, click and click. So I just like to add them automatically. And so just, it depends on the size of your image, how large you want the size of the alignment points to add. I'll start with 24 and then just hit place in a grid. And it says not recommended for planets, but it works fine for me. That's probably too many. I'm going to clear and go, how about 32? That looks all right. I think that'll work. So, but I do want to add a few more because I want to make sure that it looks at the moons. So I'm going to click and add a point to all 4 of the moons so that I make sure it analyzes it looks at those pixels to do the alignment. without those it might just miss it, and then you'd have a black background and there's supposed to be a moon there. So it looks pretty good. I think that will work. And so the next question is, now we come over here, and our stacking options, I'm going to have it outpour to TIFF. And now we need to decide whether we want to define our stack by number of frames or percentage of frames. And you can see I can do, this is kind of confusing that it shows you 4, like you need a value in each one of these boxes. You don't. This just allows you to do up to 4 at a time. Well, really 8 at a time. So this could be handy for, it's just going to have to do some trial and error to figure out what's going to work best for your image. They're all going to be different, you know, even from night to night it could be different with the same gear, you know, for different seeing conditions. So, but usually I just like to do percentage of frames to stack. And I think I'm going to start with 10%. And there's no real hard limit on this. What I do is I look at the quality graph and go, okay, you know, 50% of my frames are above 50% quality. But I've got a ton of frames. I've got 3,500 frames. So, you know, maybe I can do just like, I'm just going to do 10%. So look at 10% of 3,500 is still plenty. And look at, you know, those are going to be definitely the best frames. So I'll do 10. And then maybe if you want to do more, you can try, you know, you could try 50 and just see what it does. So let's do that. Let's leave it at 50. And we'll do 10 and 50 and kind of compare. I think we're not going to see much of a difference, but, you know, who knows? We'll see. I like to have it show me a sharpened image, so I leave this checked. And this is just kind of a, like it says, for previewing. So that'll show me a stacked regular image and a stacked sort of auto-sharpened image, which will give me a good idea to what it looks like. And then I'm just going to leave it to save in folders. And I'm not going to do a drizzle. This is just something you can experiment with and see if you like it. For right now, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to hit stack. Okay, it is done. And so it doesn't really look like anything's done. It tells me all frames were rejected. So I don't know really why it does that. But if you look at your Explorer window where that came from, where it's set to save the files to. Now I have these two folders, and you can see I have P10 and P50, so those are the two percentages. And inside each one of these there's going to be 2 images, 2 TIFFs. I'll look at the 10% first, and let me just pop that over there. So that is my stacked unsharpened 10% image, and there's the sharpened one. So this is just kind of a preview sharpening. You can see I still have some chromatic aberration in here, which I can fix, and but that looks pretty good. A really cool detail in there. So let's take a look at the 50% and see if we see anything different. So that's the pre-stacked, or that's the pre-sharpened, and this is the post-sharpened 50% version. So let's look back at, let me get the, nope, not that one. 1 second. Whoops. Okay. So that's 10% and that's 50%. So, you know, I don't know. Can you see a difference? Not much. Not much. But the next step is to take this file, and I'll usually go with the unsharpened version, and I'll import that into Registax for doing the sharpening and wavelets. You could also do it in PixInsight, Photoshop, really whatever program you're comfortable with. So that's it. That's all there is to it. The program is, you know, a little bit more complicated than it looks. I think the keys really are to just experiment with how many frames you want to stack, and that's going to depend on how many frames you shot, this target, how good the seeing was that night, how long your video was, how many frames you have, And so you know, just do try a couple of different ones and see what works best. There's really no wrong answer. Just see what works for you. So okay, that was AutoStakkert. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you. If it was, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully I didn't rush over it too quickly. Do me a favor, hit subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.